Hey, and welcome to Justice Watchers, a series by Defenders Coalition. Defenders Coalition is an organization that works for the protection, safety, and security of human rights defenders in Kenya. And we are pleased to be hosting one Julius Kamau Kemani. Did I get the order right?
Yeah.
Who most Kenyans know following an incident in June this year, when you disrupted a photo session during the Kenya Treasury Cabinet Secretary Njuguna Ndung'u's meeting at the Treasury building.
Yeah.
And a lot of Kenyans came to know who you are, but I'm sure your human rights defending career started before us. But before we go to what inspired you, how did you get yourself here? It would be nice to know, who are you, Mr. Julius?
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Julius Kamau Kemani.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, I'm a human rights defender. And I started my human rights work back in, I think in 2010, when we were in Gara. So there was the problem of the city council and hawkers, the chaos that erupted. And so many of our people were killed by the city council.
Yes,
That's when I saw that things are getting out of hand, and I started trying to mobilize hawkers to resist the cruelty of Kanjos against our people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when you say that's how your personal journey started, it's that I realized that as Kenyans, to normalize it's not enforcement, the harassment by Kanjo, that we actually don't look at it as a human rights issue. We just see it as a trade issue. Kama unanunua nguo, umepatikana na Kanjo unakimbia, venda na anaenda inside. We don't think it's a human rights issue.
Yeah, sure.
And so thank you so much for spelling that out.
So I think ule mtu ukipata injustice, that's when you know that surely it's happening.
Yes.
Yeah, when it happens to you personally.
Yeah.
And so Makanjo walikuwa wanakuja wanashika watu, kuna wakati ilifika wakaanza kudunga watu na visu. And it's all there in the it's documented. You can remember the Muhammadari documentary.
Yeah.
The Kanjo Kingdom.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also how that extends to who has access to some of these stores or areas of trade and who doesn't, which goes to the larger economic empowerment conversation.
Exactly.
Being a human rights defender is hard. We saw you arraigned in court, and there was even a question of your mental health. What are some of the challenges you've come across wewe kama mtu binafsi kutoka hizo siku ulikuwa you started organizing hawkers, but until today, some of them I think Kenyans have seen. Yeah.
One of the challenges I think is bringing our people to understand that they need to stand up for themselves, and the government should be there to serve them, not to violate their rights, not to kill them. In fact, we have normalized this situation of government killing its own people, police killing their own people. And it's so sad. It's something that should not be happening.
Yeah.
In fact, the human rights situation in this country is so, I don't think we understand what are human rights. And we don't have human rights in this country, and we don't have justice. That is mostly for the poor people.
Yeah.
We just exist without knowing what to do or what should be done or what stake we have in this struggle.
Tunaishi tu.
Yeah, tunaishi tu.
One of the things that you said because I was listening to a recording, you said that one of the things that made you go is the frustration of one, sisi kama Wakenya tuelewi rights zetu. Secondly, there are so many things that are happening that you were just frustrated.
Yeah.
So your personal frustration, but also how does venye Kenya saizi iko, how Kenya is in terms of the human rights landscape, where as a human rights defender, what are the few, because hatuwezi fight kila war. What are the few key things that you think this is where we should be and this is the forefront at this point?
Yeah, I think the story of Kenya, and I think I would say it's the story of Africa. Chinua Achebe alisema the problem of Africa is simply and clearly that of bad governance. So I think African leaders, I don't know why, ni lazima watu wakufe, ni lazima waue watu, yani watu wanyanyaswe, ndio for those people to cling to power. It's something that we must bring to the table and dissect and know why it should be happening. because si kitu inafaa ku happen.
That's true.
Watu mababa zetu walipigania hii nchi wakamwaga damu na hawakumwaga damu tukuje tumwage damu tena. Walimwaga damu tukuje tu to enjoy the fruits of their freedom.
Yes.
So I've said to my people that I really believe that unless we address the root cause of our problems, we shall always be getting back there.
Na sasa kwa mtaani and let's say marginalized communities, whether it's hawkers or mtaani from low income areas, how do we do political education to ensure that watu wanaelewa what our human rights are, what human rights are basically?
I think hizo vitu zimefanywa, political education and all that, but I think me ile kitu kubwa sana nimeangalia na nimeona inatatiza hii nchi. Our greatest undoing is tribalism and tribal division and tribal hatred. Like right now ukiangalia history ya president na the deputy president, it is tribalism that has reached its peak. But because we as a country have refused to address this issue, will continue getting eroded from the political class, because they take advantage of the whatever. They use tribalism to divide the people and to cling to power, whereas they should be not anywhere near power, because they are criminals, they are corrupt, they are murderers, they are thieves, but they come to hide behind the facade of tribalism.
Yeah, one of the things that this is true in terms of what our part is in terms of not being able to hold the government accountable, because we are part and parcel and taking sides, other than truly holding our place as a people together and saying this is our demands. We tend to recline very fast kwa tribal ethnic cocoons. Umesema tukiongea pale umesema when bad governance is bad governance, and it causes the breakdown of the rest of infrastructure, ikweni hospitali, ikweni nyumbani, ikweni like housing projects and land tena, land rights. One of the things that you also said is how the judiciary is complicit to bad governance. We have seen you in courts, either disrupting a process that you didn't think was just. Please talk about from where you stand, watu wa kawaida, HRDs wa kawaida, what can we do to hold the judiciary accountable, because it seems to be letting us down when we expect it to uphold justice?
I think justice system here too is broken, and it's like a dog that cannot, a bulldog that cannot bite, because kama sahi tumeona watu wakiuawa na serikali, which is something that should not happen in the first place. People were standing up. They had genuine grievances, the so-called Gen Zs. Wanakuja nasema hatutaki corruption, tumechoka na joblessness, tumechoka na umaskini katika nchi yetu. We are tired of all these things. And so the government responds by sending police to kill them. That is a tragedy. And right now, we should have expected in a working country, or in a working, where justice system is working, we should have seen the police who did this, because some of them are known. They should have been arrested, taken to court, arraigned in court, and punished for their crimes. But nothing like that has happened. In fact, it's innocent demonstrators like myself who have been arrested and taken to court and charged with whatever illegal assembly or illegal demonstrations. So I think our justice system is totally biased against poor people in this country. And unless we change the whole thing, the whole system, we shall continue being in the same, or rather having the same problems, recurring again and again. Again and again and again.
Umeguzia Gen Z. Na mimi nikikuangalia, mimi na wewe miaka imesonga. What do you think in terms of venye Gen Z wame-move activism to digital spaces? Na kuna watu kama wewe ambao you just need yourself to create a scene enough for people to pay attention. What are the differences and what are the advantages or cons of one strategy against the other?
I think one thing, the Gen Zs, kwanza, they did a lot of exposing zile vitu zilikuwa zina happen. Kwanza kuna makarao walikuwa expose sana, wana expose paka familia zao. Kama ni leaders, if they have misappropriated money, wanakuwa expose, wanasemekana account yake ni na wanaonesha. So information is power. and it's so good they are doing that and should keep on doing that. Then again, Gen Zs pia wametokea barabara. They have shown us that nothing is impossible. In numbers they've shown us nothing is impossible. Hakuna mtu alikuwa nafikiria kuna watu wanaweza ingia parliament.
That's true.
Hakuna mtu alikuwa nafikiria. That was a very great move by them. But then the sad thing is wale watu wako in power, who are the policy makers in this country? How can you send police to kill people who have genuine grievances? Instead of our leaders listening to them, they send police to kill them. It's so bad. Something that we should sit down and know what to do, how we will prosecute whoever is responsible for that. And even if it is the president himself, he should be prosecuted for that because he has got blood of innocent children on his hands. Nilikuwa na compare that thing with what happened in America. The other day when Trump was president, the people of America protested and went to White House. Lakini hatukuona hiyo ujinga ilifanyika ati watu wanafuatwa na polisi wanauawa. And nothing like that happened in America. So why should we allow our leaders kufuata watu ati juu waliingia parliament wanauawa? Like what happened with Denzel Omondi. It's so sad. Very, very, very sad. It's something that I don't know how we will get out of it, because these things will keep the blood of these young people will keep crying to us.
That's true.
I mean, itakuwa ni kitu sijui tutai-repent aje as a people.
We cannot forget. That is one. I think it will haunt the history of Kenya for the rest of ourselves. Nataka to move from the happenings of like the grievous image of the latest protests and talk about because you've come in the limelight, if younger activists who are very savvy kwa digital spaces, if they were to support you, what does that look like, and can they learn from you who has been this for a long time?
I think nimekuwa nikienda huko nje and surely I expected the people to get this message because I've been going there and I've been giving a certain message, and I thought that as Africans we should understand that message and coalesce around that, because I think hata ile kitu ilifanya tushindwe, why we were defeated during the revolution, the People's Revolution, the so-called Gen Z revolution, is because we did not have an ideology. We do not have a unifying ideology that will make us, even if these people were to get out of power, who would have taken power? Like there's a question that goes around: what if power falls in the streets? Who will take it? Because I know there's one danger. If power falls in the streets today, if we go out into the streets today and Ruto gets out of power, he runs away, like what happened in Bangladesh, who will take power? There's a big problem there. Atuna plan. Atuna
vacuum.
And what will happen is that political opportunists will regroup and they'll come back and take power. So we still have the same problem. So we must sit down and have an ideology, a unifying ideology that will help us to solve our problems.
In your view, what would that be? Like, do you have... I know we spoke to Wanjoki from Githurai Social Justice Center, and she akasema one of the things that human rights defenders need to do is perhaps find their own political parties or be part of political parties. So what do you think? What is your next step? That's for her was the next step, right? What is your next step?
So I think it's good to form a political party. It would be good, but political parties have been there, they've been formed. But what ideology do they have? Shall we come with the same ideology where we will continue with the same system as it is? Because the problem is the whole system as it is. It is corrupt, it's rotten. So I think what we need first is to kujichambua sisi wenyewe, roho zetu, sisi ndani. I think if you have to win this battle, it will have to be won within our hearts. So it's the change of mindset. Unless we change mindset, nothing will happen.
Itakuwa ngumu.
Itakuwa ngumu.
Is there a country in Africa that you look up to in terms of ukiangalia the revolution trajectory? This is the country in Africa you say, a group, useme, this is the group that we could emulate as Kenyans or just as human rights defenders up.
Yeah, actually wacha niseme okay, hatujatoka kwa hiyo shida bado because neo-colonialism is
yeah.
our problem today.
Yeah.
And iko everywhere. It's all over in Africa.
That's true.
Yeah, colonialism never really ended. That has been my message.
That's true.
Colonialism never really ended. We are still being colonized. That's why you hear the IMF, the so-called finance bill, ilifanya watu waende barabara. It's being forced down on those by IMF and World Bank.
Yes.
That is Britain and USA and Europeans. So in fact, our people are being killed for the interest of Europeans.
Yeah.
You see, it's sad. The people do not see the hidden hand in Kenya's politics or in African's politics. That is external influence in Kenya's affairs.
Yeah.
And that is what we must deal with. So hapo umeuliza kwa an example of an African country, I would give the example of Burkina Faso. The president of Burkina Faso, the current president, he's doing very well.
Yeah.
He is an army general, I understand.
Yes.
But he's approaching the issues like he's another Sankara that has come back.
He's living in the spirit of Sankara Thomas.
Yeah. Kwa sababu nasema, let us take back our minds from these foreigners. Let us nationalize our minds. And he has done that. Na in fact, wamesema hawatataka msaada tena kutoka kwa Europe, kutoka kwa IMF, kwa US na Britain. Because hii msaada tunapewa, ni vitu zetu zinaibiwa. Some minerals that are stolen. There's secret mining that goes on in Kenya, but people do not understand.
It's not also in the radar of media.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And these are the issues that we must dig. Kwa sababu watu wetu wanakufa na umaskini, lakini tumekalia a lot of wealth. Like the case of Congo still. Congo is the most blessed in terms of mineral resources. That is true. But those people are still dying because of poverty.
But also conflict. It's that conflict has become their way of life because they must be disrupted so that the minerals on the ground can be taken, right? And it's by quote unquote the superpowers.
Of course, yeah. And these superpowers, they do it in collaboration with African leaders.
Of course.
Some people have got interest in Congo, including the people here in Kenya, powerful people in Kenya. It's very sad.
Illicit financial flows are real, and it's we have to see how other African countries are also complicit in terms of colonialization or exploitation of other countries. And we have to see how, as Africans, we have to see how our causes are interlinked so that we can learn from each other, but also encourage each other in the cause.
Of course, yeah. In fact, Mwafrika anatumia yeye mwenyewe kunyanyasa Mwafrika mwenzake. Like now tulisikia nani akiongea, Martha Karua. Akasema Wakenya wanauawa. There's a killer squad, an abduction squad ambayo work under the president and his henchmen. And this is very sad. Na amesema hiyo kitu, it's comprised of people from Uganda, from Congo, from
mercenaries.
Just imagine foreigners coming to be paid. They're being paid to kill Kenyans.
Yeah, that tactic is a very old tactic, and it looks like it's here to stay with us. Yeah. You know, the things we cannot talk about on this podcast because of the sensitivity of it. You know, I want us to go to the depth of it, but I'm also worried because I do not want to put you in further danger than you are. And so when we keep naming the names, I know it puts you in. You become a man of interest more than you have become.
For me, no, I have no problem with that.
You have no problem with that.
I'm always out there in streets talking about these things. In fact, it's only that Kenyans have not come out to, kwa sababu tuna lose lives. Like every day, yani, we have lost the value of respect for human life.
This is true.
Kama sahi easily tuliona nini mama mmoja aliuawa na watoto wake wawili. Just imagine how pitiful it is, how sad it is.
I think so much has happened until we have become desensitized, you know,
that's a problem,
in human life. And I think so long as it's not a human life coming from, you know, upper class. Watu wa kawaida.
Not wa kawaida, but that's the thing. You have put it so well.
So we become normal. It's like bodies dropping on the streets and nobody really cares.
Imagine.
You know, and also, tumeogopa sana until you're glad you're the one who didn't die. If someone else died.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, pole sana. But because we are all worried for our lives. Even as we speak. That's a conversation that is rife. Tell me, of course, umesema, wewe kwenye umefika, and I've seen you do that. You hauko kwa preservation. Umeamua, human rights are being violated. You will keep saying it even if you put your life at risk. But other than loss of life, what are the other ways that human rights defenders find themselves at a corner, wamefinyiliwa mahali. How, especially you kama mtu mwenye ameamua, kama mbaya ni mbaya. Sitaki kusema ile kitu tulisema ya maandamano, the last one, because it would be censored, but umesema, I know my life is at risk, but I'm not stopping to do this. What other risks that you come across in your work?
I think the thing is we have criminals out there who are dangerous, who do not know the truth. I think kuna mtu alisema we are living in a society when intelligent men are silenced, so that the fools and liars and thieves will not be offended.
Wow, that's a deep saying.
Yeah,
and I like it because that's the truth.
It's the truth there.
That's speaking truth to power.
And I've always wondered how we have been getting such kind of leaders in power in Kenya. I think we have totally failed as human beings. We have failed as a generation. Because one thing, kuna mtu alisema, the leaders in power are a reflection of society. They are a reflection of what we are. Yeah, that is why people are just, we are living like we don't care. I mean, people lose lives and we don't care. We kill one another for simple issues, very simple issues, and we don't care. This way we are going to destroy and completely destroy one another. Unless society yenyewe tukuwe na watu wanasikizwa. I mean, people with reason. Because kitu moja najua imekufa in this generation, it's a reason, the power of reasoning. And that is how those who want to control people, that's what they do. They kill the power of reason.
That's true. And they count on it. It's almost like a process of radicalization. Ukifika mahali, you either do what they do or become a part of the machinery.
But I think Africa ni lazima tujue brainwashing done to the African people, how we bring it to an end. Because if you don't then
tumefanya political education, because that for me is one of the tactics. What other tactics do you think would be helpful to stop the brainwashing of people so that we're complicit in our own exploitation or human rights violation?
I think kitu moja tunafaa, we need to sensitize our people and make them know that we are still slaves in our own land, in our own country. We still find in fact, the black man has never been free. They lied to us and we are still living with those lies. Kila kitu mpaka educational system, it's meant or it's geared towards teaching our people to become willing slaves, but not thinkers. So that is why you have so many educated people, but they still reason the same way a village or a poor person out there would think. That is why they are not giving us any solutions to our problems. Another thing is the religion that we have.
Villager and any villager. I mean,
mini villager, but
meaning
there are people.
To say, we need to correct that and say we're not saying that villagers think backwards. We're just saying it's a saying that Kenyans use because I mean, people in the rural areas will come for you and say, "Ulisema sisi hatufikiri," or poor people don't think. That's not what we're saying. I think,
but I think the people in positions.
You mean exposure in terms of how people make decisions. We need to make decisions that people who are informed.
Another thing I would say is that the people in positions of influence, they have a great role to play.
That's true.
To educate our people, to see how Africa can be saved, to see how this nation can be saved. Because what we need is to save this country. And to save this country, we must search for healing. This country must heal. And as I've said so many times, that if this country is to heal, it must confront its colonial past. I think
which pervades many areas of our lives. Umesema story ya healing, so nataka uongea story ya healing for human rights defenders. Alafu tupia the last words.
Okay. So I think we need healing, but still I think this struggle is should not be a lifetime occupation. We need to see fruits. We need to see these problems being solved once and for all. But we cannot expect the same people who have created our problems
to solve
these problems. And so I think for human rights defenders, I think because we have like minds, we need to brainstorm. We need to sit down and see how we can minimize these incidents of where people are like I said, we have lost respect for human life, the sanctity of human life. Every life is sacred.
Yeah.
But you know what started way back? people being killed because of politics, we have normalized that. And nobody will question the leaders in power. And nobody will question them. They're like above the law.
Yeah, we have made them above the law.
Yeah, we have made them above the law.
Yeah.
Actually, somebody said that leaders are only as powerful as people make them to be.
This is true.
If we believe that we cannot change them, if we believe that we cannot hold them to account, then it will be like that. But if we believe we can do that, we have the minds to do that. We have the resources. We have ourselves over ourselves because we need to really come out and see how we can do this quickly. Because as much venye ina drag ndo tunakuwa na many casualties. Yeah,
that's true. Unaweza ambia mse mwenye amesema yeye amechoka na story ya protests. Siku hizi yeye ni atafute kazi. Hii mambo ingine aachie kina Julius. What will you say to a person who is a Kenyan but is in self-preservation?
I think we can say that and fold our hearts and say hata watu wengine wanaenda shughuli zao. But then kuna mtu alisema in every man sleeps a prophet, and when he wakes or when he awakes he sees a little more evil in the world. So kila siku tutakuwa tunaamka unasikia kumefanyika, kumehappen, unashinda what kind of society are we living in. Like acha niseme pia society yetu imefail. They have failed our youths. Like now tuliona watu wanaenda kazi ile ilikuwa KICC, watu wanaenda kuwa recruited. To Qatar to go and do jobs there.
Odd jobs.
Yeah, odd jobs there.
Kuna msele sema anaenda kuchinja kuku.
Just imagine.
That broke my heart.
I know the jobs that people go to do out there most of the times are not. They are demeaning jobs. But we have allowed our leaders to destroy this country. I don't know, people can start analyzing the damage that corruption has done and continues to do in this country. Ile pesa inaibiwa hapa nchi. City hall, parliament, these people, they're just like a very few people, like 6 families, but they really control 90% of our resources.
Yeah.
And
it should not be left to.
Yeah. We have to know what we do to stop corruption in it, because corruption is a cancer in our society.
And it's
imeleta hizi mashida zote. In fact, all this suffering that we are seeing, it's because of corruption.
I agree.
Ukienda hospitali zetu, they've become death traps. In fact, ukienda huko, you just feel sad because there's no medicine. Watu wanalala mpaka kwa floor.
Yeah.
Just imagine, there's no equipment. The doctors are demoralized. Why surely? Why is it like?
Not because there's no resources, but because the resources have been misappropriated or taken.
Yeah. They're storing every day. Kama sahi hapa Marigiti nilikuwa nasikia ukienda hapo hizo lori zinakujanga hapo kuleta hizo fruits, hizo lori zinakujanga lori mingi sana every day. And I hear they pay like 10,000 every day. So like 2 million is collected at Marigiti every day. 2 million. But ukienda hapo takataka imejaa hapo. Unapata mainzi zinatambaa hapo. Hata watu nashindwa awagojeki aje. Alafu mahali wanauzia, they are selling foodstuffs. You see, so the place is dirty. Where does this money go? Surely, shall we let our leaders with so much? I mean, with all these getting away with all this stealing, with all this looting.
Yeah,
I think we need to scream. We need to become mad anyway.
So you're saying, hata kama Mkenya wa kawaida, you're not supposed to. There's no way we can sit back and look at this happening.
We cannot.
So we can't afford self-preservation.
Because I believe one thing, wanatufanya maskini, they've made us poor so that they continue controlling us. In fact, I believe tumefika mahali we don't need governments anymore. Governments were created to control people.
This is true.
That's it, yeah. And I think we have reached a point where we are matured. Kuna mtu alisema Africans were colonized by Europeans because Europeans believe that Africans are primitive, they could not govern themselves. So are we still primitive?
We have made way, but let's say we cannot abolish governments, but we need to hold our governments accountable.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we say that we can, this can be misconstrued to say that we are calling for insolvency or dissolving of our government, and that's not what we're doing, because we're having this conversation in the confines of Defenders Coalition, which is foregrounding the stories of people like Julius.
Okay.
Otherwise, you and I will get in trouble, a lot of trouble. But tuseme aje, and I like that you talk about the issues of small scale traders, because I think in terms of the human rights landscape, it's a conversation that has not been had, and I would want us to come back and talk about the place of economic exploitation as a human rights issue.
Yeah.
But for now, tell us what's the legacy of what's the vision of Julius Kamau, and what's the legacy here henceforth?
I think hivyo umesema tuna need kuongea about that the economic, what you call it, economic exploitation of the poor people in this country, because they are the majority, and they're the people who should be building the nation, but now they are being exploited. I mean, they are living in misery because we have dismissed them as inferior. Poor people in this country are dismissed as inferior. And they cannot think for themselves. They cannot contribute to anything. But they are the engine of this country. Only we can tap their potential.
And class struggle is real in Kenya and in Africa generally.
It's very real. In fact, I believe it's so sad. Like right now, this nation has been held to ransom by two people, the president and the deputy president. We are using resources. I heard that they used 15 billion up to now to debate about the impeachment of the deputy president. But there are issues that we should be talking about.
That's a lot of money. Or even just appropriating that money to things like medicine or school structures, because the schools are actually suffering in terms of the reasons capitation, right? Yeah. Julius, mimi na wewe tunaweza ongea hadi kesho. Nataka utupe the last words, alafu tufungie kitu.
Okay. I think what I believe is that this nation must address the issue of poverty once and for all.
Yeah.
I believe the current problem arises because we have refused to address this issue, the issue of poverty of the majority. I believe poverty is man-made.
Yes, this is true.
It's man-made.
Yes.
I'm poor. I'm poor not because I'm lazy. In fact, Kenyans are not lazy. They are very hardworking and enterprising. We are poor because of corrupt people in power, corrupt leadership.
The system has been made to leave most of us out. And we don't see how that increasingly takes away our other human rights.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Asante sana kwa kuja kwa hii podcast.
Okay.
In Justice Watchers, you and I will have this conversation, and when the time is ripe, we will have a conversation that's deeper. But saizi tunaenda hivyo kama eggshells.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But asante sana kwa kuja. Please leave us comments. Please support Julius in his work. The next time you see him in the streets, say hello, because he has done what most of us can do. He usually does not need a crowd. He does this mostly as Julius. Asante sana, Julius.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Asante.